She was the wealthiest woman of the Gilded Age. However, she was so thrifty that she wore a single black dress until it was completely worn out before getting a new one. This is Hetty Green, aka the Queen, or the Witch of Wall Street. Henrietta Howland Robinson, also known as Hetty, was born in 1834 in New Bedford, Massachusetts, to the richest whaling family in the city. When she was 2, she went to live with her grandfather and Aunt Sylvia. She would read her grandfather, who was the head of the family's whaling firm, the stock quotes and commerce reports. She also picked up on his business methods. She was extremely close to her father, who became the head of the family business when Hetty was 10. As early as 6 years old, she was reading him the financial papers as well as learning how to read ledgers and trade commodities. At the age of 13, she became the family's bookkeeper and went with her father to the counting houses where they conducted business, storerooms, commodities traders, and stockbrokers. And then in the evening, she would read him the news. In her late teens, while she was attending finishing school, she was simultaneously helping her father manage the family business. She rejected societal norms for women of the time. Hetty preferred to dress in old clothes and cared little about her appearance, which was unheard of for a wealthy heiress of the time, and worried her family about her future marriage prospects. When she was 20, her family sent her to New York to mingle with the upper-class New York society and find a husband. After several months of spending her time at balls eavesdropping on the latest Wall Street drama, Hetty returned home single with no prospects. However, her father was overjoyed to find out that she had only spent $200 of the $1,200 budget that she was given and invested the rest in high-quality bonds. For perspective, $1,200 in 1854 was about $45,000 today. After she returned to New Bedford, her father left the whaling business and moved to New York City for new business ventures. For 6 years, Hetty traveled back and forth between New York City and New Bedford. In New York City, she was helping her father manage his new business ventures, and in New Bedford, she was on a quest to remain her Aunt Sylvia's sole beneficiary. In 1860, she inherited an $8,000 house, or about $271,000 today, after her mother passed. During her time in New York, she met her future husband, millionaire businessman Edward Henry Green. Her father blessed the marriage under the condition that Edward would never be able to inherit any of Hetty's money. In May 1865, Edward and Hetty announced their engagement shortly before Hetty's father and Aunt Sylvia passed away, both leaving her as their primary beneficiary. Her father left her $6 million, which was placed in a trust and entitled Hetty only to the income. Half of Sylvia's $2 million estate was willed to charity, and the other half was placed in a trust for Hetty. Hetty was enraged because she thought that she could invest the trust money way better. Hetty started a multi-year court battle over Sylvia's will, claiming that there was an addendum added that gave her the entire estate. The case was ultimately decided against Hetty when the court ruled that the addendum and its signature were forgeries. Hetty was given $600,000 in a settlement, but the case remains a notable early example of the use of forensic mathematics. Hetty and her husband decided to move to London following the lawsuit and her cousins trying to have her indicted for forgery. There, her 2 children, Ned and Sylvia, were born. Hetty began investing the interest from her father's trust using his methods and soon proved that she was a force to be reckoned with. Her first year's profit was $1.25 million, with her earning $200,000 in her single highest day. Her investment strategy was to buy low, sell high, and research investments as much as you can before making them. During her marriage, Hetty bailed her husband out multiple times after he suffered great business losses, and these bailouts permanently damaged their relationship. Following Edward's passing in 1902, Hetty set up an office in the chemical bank but continued to live in boarding houses and hotels. And by this time, she was known as the Queen of Wall Street for her shrewd investment strategy. Her philosophy was that every woman should learn how to take care of their own business affairs. Women should also learn how a bank account, mortgage, bonds, and the value of interest works. Hetty correctly predicted the Panic of 1907 and had amassed a large cash position in advance so she could lend money to financiers and the city of New York during the hard times. She was the only woman that J.P. Morgan invited to his meeting with banking executives at the height of the crisis. In contrast to other flashier investors of the time, Hetty conducted her business out of the Seaboard National Bank in New York so she didn't have to pay rent. She was an extremely successful businesswoman who dealt mostly in real estate, investing in railroads and mines, and lending money. She notably wrote a check to the city of New York for $1.1 million to keep them afloat during the Panic of 1907 and took her payment in short-term revenue bonds. In a time where women did not travel unchaperoned, Hetty would travel thousands of miles alone to collect debts of a few $100s. Against the backdrop of the excessive Gilded Age, Hetty developed a reputation for being extremely frugal. Rumors swirled that she never turned on the heat or used hot water. Her trademark was to wear a single black dress until it was beyond repair before replacing it. She also instructed her laundress to only wash the dirtiest parts of the dress to save money on soap. One rumor claimed that she refused to pay a doctor when her son injured his leg, resulting in an amputation. However, this was proven to be false, and records indicate that she put a lot of time and money into treating her son. She was known to be extremely caring towards both her children and elderly neighbors. On her frugal lifestyle, Hetty remarked that she was a Quaker and was trying to live up to the faith. She gave away large amounts of money to charity secretly, claiming that she believed in discreet charity. She was referenced in a popular phrase at the time, "I'm not Hetty if I do look green," meaning you're not as rich nor as naive as you appear. Her daughter Sylvia married a miner, Astor heir, who her mother prompted to sign a prenup waiving his right to Sylvia's fortune. Hetty moved to Hoboken, New Jersey in 1898 to avoid New York property tax, even though she was New York's largest lender. She passed away in 1916 at the age of 82 and left behind a fortune worth an estimated $2.7 to $5.4 billion in today's money. She was the richest woman in the world at the time of her passing and has a Guinness Book of World Records for world's greatest miser. Hetty Green was a woman who shunned societal norms and amassed a fortune in the process. Very inspirational.